project for today. I get them fuel lines on there and maybe even attempt to start up there. And we'll go through the timing there. Ignition and exhaust timing. A couple of projects we got coming up. World's Most Beautiful McCormick-Deering, and we'll dust some paint off of that engine right there, and some dust. We'll knock some dust off that engine and get her out there. I built that engine a long time ago, many years ago. Never been started, and we'll put a little of that Coleman fuel in there. See, can we start it up? And project upcoming, like maybe just try to a little series of such. That's that Bailey-Moore engine, and all of these here runs, and whatever it is, that right there is an understrike right there. That engine, EK mag right there. There's one NQ. We'll get that and running. It's free and all the parts is there. We'll start that up. I got some gas in that fuel tank there. It's going to go bad. We'll start that up one evening out there and run that. And that's when we run a few videos back. That one right there, I think that's an engine I got from. I got that engine from Donnie DeVore right there. That's exactly it was in a barn, and I brought it home, got it going, It's still got some cow manure on it down there. And, I figured if I had a black engine, heretofore up to now, known as the Jack Daniels engine, McCormick-Deering Type M, 1.5 horsepower. I figured if I had a black label, I should have a green label. So, I think Magneto, a lot of homemade brass parts on that engine right there. That was the reason for the brass, is I wanted to reproduce every part on the engine out of brass. That arm right there, quite an easy project, but we'll get that running. And that engine right there, I don't remember where I got it at or nothing, but I do know I got that. I got that Magneto right there from Mr. Jim Johnson. And this is an engine under construction, a 1.5 horsepower, runs backwards with the upside down head on it. A square push rod arrangement on that one right there. Some offset linkage there on that exhaust valve. Home built mixer up in there. We'll get to that maybe. And that engine right there, that's no standby. I traded for that engine right there up there at that Paducah, Kentucky show one time. I actually traded an engine. The first stem I converted to a hit and miss. I think it run backwards too. The first one that I converted, I traded to that engine right there up there at Paducah one year. I think it was about $11 involved in the boot was almost to keep us from trading, and but anyways, I ended up with the engine there and $11. But just a couple of projects that we should be getting after is, I guess what I'm saying. I think one of these is understrike also. Several of them are dishpan Fairbanks, and that's got a unique ignition on them. It's worth owning one of them just to know how that ignition works. There's a 3 horsepower NQ. There's another one of them dishpans NQ, and there's a 3 horsepower NQ. Now let's get on with the show. Well, I suppose the question would be, is how come I painted that black? I bought this engine from Mr. Lewis Sled at Draffinsville. Mr. Sled lived at Draffinsville, Kentucky at the time, and I had went to an auction sale at Paducah, Kentucky, and I was sitting in the seats there in the arena in the auction house, and I looked. It was downtown in Paducah, and I looked up in the rafters of this big old barn-like warehouse building, and nailed way up in the corner up yonder was a flyer, advertisement for Lewis Sled Tractor Repair. And I had met the man shortly at that time. But I remember seeing that adverb in that auction house for Lewis Sled Tractor Repair. And I was impressed when I went to the man's house. He is deceased now, automobile wreck. He was a good mechanic. He worked on tractors, John Deere's, a lot. And he had built this thing in his workshop there, just a lean-to, nothing more. And he had built this track in the floor that he could put a John Deere in there and put this half on the thing here and put that half on the thing and spread them apart there and work in the middle of them. But he was a good mechanic. Lewis Sled was. And I was sorry to know that he was in the car wreck. It was a great loss, especially to the engine. He was active in the Paducah, Kentucky engine. That was his area around Paducah. But I bought this engine, went down to his house. Now we're talking about ever how many years that the Paducah Gas Engine Show has been in existence. You know, we're talking like 40 years ago. So I've owned this engine that amount of time. I bought it from him that day. I went down to his house. I had talked to him, and he said he had some engines, and I think I had this engine in its rusty state at the first or second Paducah Gas Engine Show. And you know, it was red and yellow at one time. I moved it to several states, and you know, I almost sold it one time. But anyways, I did keep it. I sold the cart that it was on. The man was interested in the cart that the engine was on. It was quite ingenious as to the mechanism I built. I only built one. The story is that I went down to Mr. Sled's house, and I bought 3 engines that day for $100. It was $33.33 each, and so I paid $33, basically $34 for this engine. You know, kind of like a Model T, I guess. You know, just buy it new and keep it to now. You know. made that push rod out of there. It's just bare piece of brass stock right there, you know, threaded on the end down yonder, and brass nut on it down there to cinch it up. I think I got that brass tube in there from Hit and Miss. You know, there was a time they had that in their catalog. It's hard to work with. It's very hard. I remember the day that I was up at Mr. Sled's. I was just thinking, I bought 3 engines and a baby goat. He managed to sell me a goat. There's a story in that in itself, you know, like a goat in a trailer park, you know. I mean, it was cool as could be. That's all I'm gonna say about it. But Mr. Sled, he had all manner of pets in the house. I'm talking about. When it come to pets at Mr. Sled's house, it was definitely an open door situation. I mean, chickens. When I drove up, you know, it was like 15 chickens come out of the house before Mr. Sled did. But I enjoyed the day. I enjoyed that visit with Mr. Sled. World's most beautiful McCormick-Deering, a Type M, 1.5 horsepower. leave a comment.